Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello, welcome back to the show. Great to have you along. Really looking forward to my chat today with Mandy with us. Mandy and I go way back, so we're good friends and we are business partners, or people have teamed up many times to help businesses in the HR world. But firstly, I want to welcome Mandy to the show. Mandy, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Ben. It's lovely to be on the show with you again. And thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Oh, no problem at all. And you're like me, you're geographically challenged. So I'm an Aussie living in Ireland, but you are, what are you, Welsh living in Bristol? Is that right?
Yeah, north of Bristol. Yeah, between Bristol and Gloucester. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Lovely. Very good. Well, so let's get into it. Now, in the past, we've looked at business mentoring programs and things like that for solo consultants and sort of startups in the HR consulting world. But you've got an exciting new venture, which we're going to talk about today, which is the Talk HR Club. So do you want to give us a little snapshot of what that is all about?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I think it's been around for quite some time. I had the concept back in 2018 when I moved from South Wales to the Cotswolds. And I used to go networking, and often trying to find other like-minded people was difficult. So I started to find my HR friends, and we just started to get together. And I realized many of them needed support on starting up their own businesses. So then it just grew. We started off in a small village hall, and it grew from there. And then I recognized the need to have some regular contact with like-minded people. So they're HR consultants and people professionals. And I set up a WhatsApp group. And it just went crazy. So from that perspective, we started to invite people. So you couldn't just get into the WhatsApp group. You needed to actually have the criteria to sort of belong. And I started organizing regular events. We'd meet up for Christmas lunch. We'd have suppers. And in April 2019, the suppers, Talk HR suppers, were born. And through that, it just went crazy until COVID. As you know, when COVID hit in 2020, we then reverted to going online, and the Talk HR suppers still go today. But there was a need for people to feel like they belong somewhere, and it is a vibrant community. It supports critical thinking. It's very kind to one another. They also have a sense of belonging. So they get a feeling that somebody truly cares, and it also encourages you to be the best version of yourself. We share a common purpose, and that is by helping each other and actively encouraging best practice to create better workplaces.
Excellent. Well, that's so important these days, isn't it? Through all the trauma we've been through for the last few years. So what kinds of people join the Talk HR Club?
We've got a range of people. So there would be your typical HR consultant that specializes in ER. We've got pay and reward consultants, executive coaches, L&D. I think we've got 23 different types of specialisms, but ultimately they all focus on being people driven. So they work with organizations to help organizations with their people. So it's a wide ranging, but the key to our success, I believe, is the fact that we're collaborating. So we collaborate over competition, and you'll find that there's a hashtag out there called collaboration over competition. And that tends to sort of almost link us to what we're all about. There are some people in the club that it's amazed me how many of them actually have worked together and become good friends as a result.
Yeah.
Like you and I, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know, a little confession, when I started out in business, I probably had that sense when you launch a business, you think of, oh, there are other competitors in the market and how do I position differently and stuff like that. So there's almost that fear element of competitors. And over the years, I've mellowed and realized, markets are just so big. We've all got our strengths and areas of focus and things like that. So what was the hashtag? Because I really like that.
It was collaboration over competition.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. So I guess that's what you've got going on there. You've got a network, a group of people who, in theory, work in similar spaces, but there's opportunities to bounce ideas and stuff like that. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I probably use the analogy, we're all on the same path at different stages of that path. And some of them are surviving, some are thriving, or some are actually driving their businesses. But their whys for doing their businesses varies from one person to another. There's 4 principles that we work to. Number 1 is connect. So this is where we come together, we connect, we network. Suppers is an example of that. And the second one is that we collaborate. So this is about jobs and gigs. And we've had a lot of excitement where I posted up on the live platform lots of various gigs. And obviously they apply for those or they share gigs with other people in the community. So I get a lot of response from clients. Clients often say to me, I've got a new project. Can you do this project or someone in your community? So there's that sharing and that giving sort of principle under that collaboration. So that's gone down really well. The next part, talking about sharing, is where we share templates, we share ideas, we encourage critical thinking. Groups of them will come together and work on things. So it's about not getting too precious about your material, but actually encouraging others to think about things differently. So there's a lot of sharing going on, and some of them have donated lots of documents, but we always acknowledge the author as well. So that's gone on really well. And then on the support, this is the bit I didn't really bank on. We've had some people in our community have been poorly, life-threatening
Oh no.
illnesses, car accidents, all sorts of different things going on in their personal lives. But the community has wrapped their arms around them. So I've seen people step into other people's businesses and keep them going, which is
Wow, that is
amazing.
nice.
But we've got big plans to actually grow the community. The community is actually free, but the club, there's an inside sort of lounge. The club is actually paid for membership, where there's no restricted access to anything. But we want to encourage this collaboration philosophy forever and a day because it really does work. There's plenty of work out there and there's lots of learning. So we say our strap line is that we work together, we learn together, and we grow together.
Brilliant. Oh, I like that. And the sharing thing, that reminds me in the early days of my business when we'd win some large projects. And this is kind of, I don't know if you call it early internet, but a lot of the stuff was not online. And have you got a policy or a procedure for this thing? Because I've got to get a new business greenfield site set up and I need accommodation policies or whatever. Yeah. So you're sort of looking for staff. And I think having a network where you can ask around either for templates that you described or examples or tips and ideas for stuff that you can incorporate, that's very helpful. I imagine that they find that very helpful, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from what I've seen as well is that also it's about contextualizing. So you may have a template for different things, but it's how do you contextualize that? So to give an example, I ran a mastermind class the other week for redundancy, and we all jumped on call. And it was really for some, it was brushing up on, they hadn't done it for a while, but also looking at the ways on how you can deliver what is a difficult piece of work on times. So there were lots of light bulb moments because we were being very open, transparent, say, this is what I do. And somebody else would say, well, I've done this and I automate it or I do various things. So that was quite insightful. So there's lots of opportunities. It's a live platform. So you just upload the platform and you'll see people coming on for chats. There's video chats in the platform. So at any time, if you're feeling lonely or you've got a question, you could just go on the platform and reach out to message whoever's there. But going on live then to actual events like masterminds, HR surgery is another thing that we do, where they can bring a technical issue and they literally dissect that issue, walk away thinking, right, I've had so much insight that's going to help me feel more confident in what I'm going to do next.
What's an example of that?
An example could be, yeah, I mean, it depends on what they bring to the table, but it could be a difficult situation. They're trying to do a settlement agreement, and it's how do you go about having that off the record discussion, and how do you manage that process when there's a lot of angst in that situation? So that could be one example, or it could be where we just say, how's your week this week? What would you like to bring to the table? What have you struggled with? I've even seen some people say, I know the answer to this, but there's a lot going on in my life right now. And I just want to sound some other people out to see what other perspectives are there. And I see people reaching out regularly to different people. They'll say, is there anybody available I can talk to? And somebody will jump on and say, yeah, I can talk to you. And they go off in a separate chat room. And whatever's been said there is private between those individuals.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And especially important in these sort of remote work times when there is less of that human interaction. Yeah, it's nice to get that discussion and support going on for sure.
And then what I do see is quite nice is the friendships that are coming out of that. One of the members, she is quite new and she was going away on holidays. And she said, who could I trust within the group to actually cover my business while I'm away? And I said, well, I would trust them all. But obviously, if you're looking at location near to where you live, there's somebody literally 10 minutes around the corner. And she already knew this person's name because I'd mentioned her before. So she went off on her cruise, had a lovely time, and the other person stepped in. They are now collaborating on projects and they're good friends. They even had a social arrange. So we get photographs coming back in of where they've had socials. So it's meeting offline as well. So we call that talk and walk, where they might just meet in a coffee shop, they might go for a walk, they might do a charity event, but they're getting to know each other and building that trust. So that's quite nice as well. So there's lots of little
Nice.
spin-offs that I didn't think were going to happen, but they have.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, very good. I think it's a wonderful platform. And before I ask, the website address and so on, are there any sort of final thoughts on why people should join?
I think if you're somebody that is looking to have consistent income, then why not join with a group of people that are already doing it? Why struggle on your own when you can shortcut it? And there's a group of people who on that same path will share their ideas, expertise, and you'll feel like a sense of belonging. Much easier than being on your own and then saying, oh, I think I'll go back to corporate, or I'm just going to let my business wither on the vine. Whereas we're a very vibrant community. We're there to support.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely. And I know you're a wonderful person, a wonderful leader. So I think that's a strength for the community itself. What is the address so people can check it out?
Yeah, the website is www.talkhrclub.co.uk. At the moment, it's just a holding page because the founder members are testing the platform, but we'll go live on the 15th of September. It'll be an open page, but prior to that, we're doing a big launch event on the 14th of September.
Oh, very good. And you got the Rolling Stones booked or something for that, or?
I wish. No, we've got a fantastic Scottish lady called Carrie Lindeen who's going to be leading the proceedings. And I've got Angela Durant who's going to be there. And we're talking about mindset because, Ben, we've covered this many times in boot camp. Mindset is really key to helping you achieve your goals. And we've got a little bit of a competition going as well and some giveaways. And also I get to do the mastermind spot where they throw questions at me. So that'll be great. And you'll get to hear from some of the members who are already on the platform. They'll be able to give their first appraisal really to the audience. None of that will be rehearsed. I don't know what they're going to say. I've been to lots of launches, but this is going to be really exciting. It's what's next. And I believe this is version 1, but we have got plans to actually improve it even further. We are a community that's led by its members, really. So we're listening to the members saying, what is it you want? And I'm already thinking, what do we need for version 2? And they're not afraid to tell me either, which is great.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Excellent. So one more time, what's the website address?
www.talkhrclub.co.uk.
Perfect.
And people can find me on LinkedIn as well. So they'll see the join up pages are being broadcast over LinkedIn. And we also will be sending out Eventbrite and LinkedIn. It'll be everywhere that people can gain access to the site when we do the launch.
Cool. So there'll be nowhere to hide.
No, nowhere to hide. Yes.
Brilliant. All right, Mandy. Well, best of luck with the launch for that. And if you're listening to this, go check it out. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to get support, advice, and just that sense of camaraderie, which is so important these days. So, Mandy, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Ben. And if you're available, Ben, please come along at 6 o'clock till 7 on the 14th. It'd be great to see you.
Excellent. Will do. Thank you then.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks and see you next time.